It's a league that has existed for less than 30 years and it's seen many famous faces in the twilight of their careers. But for the new season, the format has changed and the popularity of Major League Soccer is soaring. Hello there and welcome to Football Now from Doha. On this week's episode of the show, we're crossing the Atlantic and looking at football in the USA. Now, the 2023-24 Major League Soccer season is just 7 weeks old, but with a new TV deal and a World Cup on the horizon, there's a great sense of excitement, and the competition has a new format too. Rather than in European football, where each country has one first division, the MLS is split into 2 leagues, the Eastern and Western Conferences. This year, for the first time, 9 teams from both divisions can qualify for the league's playoffs, with those finishing in 8th and 9th playing it out in a one-off wildcard match, making it more open than ever. Eventually, the 2 teams to win their respective conference playoffs will battle it out in the grand final in a bid to lift the MLS Cup.
I think, again, you look at baseball, you look at basketball, those are sports that do the best of series. You know, you play a number of games. The team with the highest or the best record will get more of the home games. So I think so far it's been met with positivity, and again, it's about MLS just trying to find that formula that you know captures the attention of not just the regular fan but the everyday sports fan as well.
So a new system for the supporters to get used to and a new way of watching too. Just prior to the season starting, we told you how Apple have chosen the MLS for their first venture into football streaming with a 10-year global deal, meaning that subscribers can watch every game anywhere in the world. So then, 7 weeks into the campaign, what are the fans made of the content?
The reaction from the fans has been really good. You know, we go into stadiums, we see them as we're going in, and these are fans that have the ability, if we're doing an early game, to attend the early game, leave the game and go home and straight and watch the rest of the coverage with no blackouts in terms of not being in that same zone of where the game is played. So, you know, all of the reports coming to us has been the standard of the coverage has been good. The fact that commentators are on site add to it. So far so good in terms of how fans have responded to the Apple MLS partnership.
Now, last season, for the first time ever, aside from the MLS, became the first to win the CONCACAF Champions League. Those are the best sides from North America, Central America and the Caribbean. Seattle Sounders seeing off Mexican side Universidad Nacional in the final. As a result of that, they became the first side from the United States to compete in FIFA's Club World Cup in Morocco back in February. So just how much of a landmark moment was this for football in America?
So when I think about Seattle and the fact that they won the CONCACAF Champions League, it really was a watershed moment, I think. You look at like the 4-minute mile being broken, and I think that's what that was for Major League Soccer teams. And a little bit disappointing that they struggled in the regular season after putting so much time and effort into that. People have seen it done, and now more than ever, Major League Soccer teams believe that it can be done, and I think we'll see it more and more.
The league continues to grow then, but even in the past we've seen many household names of European football see out the remaining days of their career stateside. So then, let's remind ourselves of some of those famous faces to pull on a jersey in the MLS. England superstar David Beckham swapped Real Madrid for LA Galaxy back in 2007, winning back-to-back titles in the process. Steven Gerrard made the same move 8 years later and was named in the MLS Team of the Year. Classy Italian midfielder Andrea Pirlo scored 60 goals across 3 seasons in the twilight of his career at New York City FC, more than he ever managed in his time at several clubs in Italy combined. Arsenal invincible Thierry Henry spent 4 years at New York Red Bulls. Current DC United manager Wayne Rooney played for the club before taking over, arguably scoring one of the division's greatest ever goals too. And more recently, Wales legend and 5 times Champions League winner Gareth Bale sealed a remarkable career, scoring a dramatic last-minute winner to seal the MLS Grand Final trophy for LAFC. Well, one of the stories of the season has been the introduction of this year's expansion team, St. Louis SC. The club was only founded back in 2019, and their first campaign in the MLS is proving to be pretty special.
The start of the team was pushed back a year because of COVID, which really worked in their favor because most expansion teams, training camp starts in January. They would sign players in January, and the first time the team would get together would be right before camp began. This team had kind of a leg up because they made the decision to commit to players early. They weren't going to need him until January, but they signed him in June. The fact that they won the first game was, going into Austin, which is a tough place to play, was better than expected. And then they've just kept going.
MLS fever sweeping through St. Louis then. And with the next FIFA World Cup set to take place in the US, along with Canada and Mexico, there's plenty of soccer optimism surrounding the country.
I think there's this bias against Americans that, you know, we are an American football nation, we are a basketball nation, we are a baseball nation, but soccer is very true and deep and growing, and especially among young people in the United States. And I think that this World Cup coming up here in 2026 is just going to be extra rocket fuel for that. I think back to when I was young and the World Cup came here in 1994 and how it just supercharged everything, and I think it's going to be even more exponential when you look at 2026.
Yeah, looking like a really exciting time for the sport in the US, isn't it? That is us out of time for this week's show. Do let us know your thoughts at home using the hashtag FootballNowMLS, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.